Hi everybody, how we doing? Good. Weed, New Mexico. This is a first for me and I'm so excited to be here. It is so beautiful, this state. I know you all know it, but let me tell you once again, if you haven't heard it in a while, your state is magical. I'm honored to be here. This is my third speech of my whirlwind tour. So I want to thank Amy and JP for bringing me in, and Josh. I really appreciate it. They're investing in you all so that you can invest in your neighbors and your community. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I am Tana Goertz, and I have always been an entrepreneur my entire life. I never wanted to make somebody else rich. I wanted to work for myself, and I always have done that. Being a saleswoman, and now I am a saleswoman who travels the country educating educating Republicans on my journey working on not one but two presidential campaigns and how I navigated that. And so we'll just back it up and let me tell you a little bit about who I am. So as I said, I've always been an entrepreneur, so I'm very driven, motivated, ambitious, go-getter, type A. Any type A people in the room? Yeah, I'm guessing so. And so that's who I am. I come from a family of 5 kids, Italian family, so chaos and crazy is our middle name. And I lived back east. I now live in Iowa. God bless you. And I have always had a desire to parlay my success. So if I did well at something, if I was the #1 salesperson in an organization, I wanted to be better than that. Well, you don't get much better than that, so you try to find another thing to sell to exceed. And so I'm always one of those people that never rests on my laurels. So when I watched season 1 of The Apprentice with Donald Trump, I thought, oh my gosh, I gotta go on that show. I could do that. I could actually do it better than they're doing it. So I applied to be on The Apprentice. Did any of you watch that show? Raise your hand. Okay, half of the room. Awesome. And so I applied to go on The Apprentice, but little did I know that 1,800,000 other people were going to apply to be on that show. So, well, I always knew I was 1 in a million, so I figured this would be no big deal. And I did get cast. Out of 18 of us, I got to go to New York and compete on this show. Well, back in the day, this was 2005, the world loved Donald Trump. They thought he was amazing. They thought he was America's business icon. They thought this guy was awesome. That's what they thought back then. Now we'll get to what they think of them now. However, let me weave you through the journey. So as I get on The Apprentice, I did not know what to expect except for 17 other best of the best in their industries, and so it was quite an experience. I felt like I got a business degree with Donald Trump and Trump Tower, and I did. So I became the runner-up for the entrepreneurs. Do we have any other entrepreneurs in the room? Okay, 6, cool. Well, I won for the entrepreneurs, so whoop whoop, Street Smarts team. But while I was there, I paid attention because my only intention and agenda for going on the show was to learn from America's business icon what it takes to be successful, what does it take to be a billionaire, and I wanted to bring all those ideas back to my business and infuse my businesses with what he taught me and be even more successful when I got back. So that's exactly what I did. So I soaked everything up like a sponge. I watched Donald Trump with his kids. I watched Donald Trump with his employees. I watched Donald Trump with all of us candidates. I watched him with his wife, everything. And so I just took notes, not knowing what I'm taking these notes. Well, those notes actually paid off in dividends when I worked on the campaign. So I come back to my state of Iowa, where we don't have real celebrities. We don't have teams, professional teams. So anybody on TV is a celebrity. So I came back and my life had changed forever. I went unknown and came back known. I used to be a professional speaker, then it was lots more zeros after the number. And I thought, wow, this is all because of Donald Trump. He put me on the show. Mark Burnett cast me, but my life changed for the better because of this man. So from that day on, I never forgot who put me on the map, who helped me, who changed my life. And in life, I've noticed, I'm sure you all have as well, the people that we help pull up sometimes, or we give a handout to, or we help them get along their way, or we take them in and put them under our wing, when they become successful after they come up from the basement, hence the title of my book, they kind of forget about us, don't they? They never even thank you. Not that you're doing it for a thanks, but when you scratch your head and go, I made that person, they forgot about you. Well, I never did that. I always kept saying in interviews after interviews after interviews for 10 years, Donald Trump is the reason I'm successful. Donald Trump's the reason I have nice high heels. Donald Trump helped me put my kids through college. Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. And he would write to me and say, thank you for that article you wrote in the New Mexico Tribune, or thank you for saying that in Michigan, and I heard you said that, and see, I'm being videotaped, and that videotape will go on the internet, and he'll see a clip of it, and he'll send me a note. Hey, thanks for what you said in Dallas. How did he know? Well, he paid attention because he told me. Not many people ever thanked me. You're actually one of the only contestants out of the 100 and some contestants I've ever had that ever said, thank you for making me famous. Thank you for putting shoes on my feet. Thank you. And I share that with you all because how many people owe you a thank you? Or, better yet, do you owe someone a thank you? So, I already got the thank yous out of the way. So I come home and my careers just were on steroids. So I became a professional speaker, I became a successful life and business coach, and I had a radio show, the Hey Tana Time show. So all you men would call me up, hey Tana, what do you think I ought to get my wife for our anniversary, 30 years? Don't get her an appliance. So I'd give them advice, and then they'd go home and buy her a Gucci purse, and then the wife was like, you're husband of the year, and they'd email me, thanks for the tip. So that was what my radio show was about, and I loved it. And then we had the golden escalator moment in Trump Tower when Trump decides he's gonna run. And I was like, oh my gosh, like he's gonna do it. Like this man I could get behind because I saw him in the boardroom for 18 weeks when I got my business degree at Trump Tower. This man could run the country like a business, I'm all in. So he comes down the escalator in New York, flies to Iowa that night, and I'm in the front row and he goes, there's my star Tana. Y'all know Tana. The place goes crazy. And I go up to him and I said, how you doing? And he goes, what do you think? I go, you're gonna be great. And he goes, well, no. I don't become the president of the United States unless I win Iowa. So I need you. And I went, me? I don't know anything about politics. I'm thinking I would never say that. You never point out your weaknesses. That's lessons learned from the boardroom, one of my presentations. That's for you. Never point out your weaknesses. So I just go, wow, well, I'm gonna have to think about that because I had 3 jobs that I loved. And I made good money at my 3 jobs, and I figured politics isn't a good payer, right, folks? We know that. So I went, I can make history with this man. I could convince people that behind the scenes that they don't know of Donald Trump's, and I'm a great saleswoman, so I can do this job. And he said, so I said, I'll do it. And he goes, well, I will blame you if we don't win the state of Iowa. So more or less, if he doesn't become the president, he said he was gonna blame me. And I was like, me? I thought, I don't even know what a caucus is. I thought it was a dirty word. I thought, oh, isn't it too soon to be getting vulgar? And then my husband's like, no, you need to Google this, Tana. This is serious stuff. Iowa's no joke. So I Googled it and was like, oh, it's a thing that we do. Okay. So, day 2, I roll up at the scene at the office, and man. Okay, and here I come in, no problem. I get along with men great. Most of my best friends are men. Well, the men weren't warm and fuzzy with me. They didn't really want to welcome me to the party. They had their clipboards and thought they were gonna treat Donald Trump like all the other candidates they worked for, and And I walked in and thought, dude, you people don't know what you're dealing with. First off, you need to get out of your pajamas, put on a suit, because he don't play that way. I didn't say that, but I thought that. So I thought, you don't want to welcome me, you're not welcoming, you're treating me rude. What's going on here? Well, what was going on is they didn't think I deserved the job, and they thought I just got the job because I was a reality TV star on his show. But the reality was, there was nobody better to humanize this man to the people of Iowa than me. So that's what I did. I ignored the haters. I ignored the non-welcome, fuzzy, warm feelings, even though I brought cookies. I'm the only woman. Hello, you dummies. I'm gonna cook for you. They still didn't want me. So I thought, I'm wasting my time on them. I'm just gonna wipe their butts. Not in that way. I'm gonna work harder than them and make them look really bad. And that's what I did. So I worked twice as hard. I ran circles around them. I came up with great marketing ideas. I branded Donald Trump like you can't believe. And so I would sit down, an audience is not sit down, I would say, did you know that he has these at the time he had 4 children, then when he had Barron, I didn't know Barron, but I said, so how many parents do we have in the room? And I would say this at rallies of 2,000 plus people. This was in the beginning, before, now it's 20,000. So I was this hype girl, so I'd say, so folks, how many people in the audience have children? Let's do it now. How many of y'all have children? Raise your hand. Okay, me too, 2 kids. So out of your kids, say you have 2 or 4, half of them are probably nutty or give you trouble. So, you got 2 good eggs, you got 2 bad eggs. You got 2 great apples, you got, if you have 4 kids, 2 of them are probably a little nutty. If you're lucky. But anyways, Trump's got 4 kids. And I met them all, and I'm thinking, polished, poised, professional, great, productive human beings. So I dig a little deeper. We got any drug issues? No. Any alcoholics? No. Anybody been in jail? No. I'm looking deeper. Anybody been in a rehab? No. So I thought, dang, what the heck did he do? So I'd ask him. I called him Mr. Trump back then. Mr. Trump, can I ask you, how did you get 4 polished, poised, professional, productive human beings? That's like, your record is really good. So he would tell me, no drugs, no alcohol. I told him, stay away from this. My brother was an alcoholic, and he would share with me stories and put them in the bank. So that when I would go be his hype girl in Utah, and all the Mormons out there had all the political gurus talking on behalf of Donald Trump, then there's me. So I figured, I know what to say to these people. I used to be a Mormon back in the day, back with husband 1. So I said, oh, these people are gonna eat this up with a spoon. So I get out there and they're all hungry for what I got to say. Now the audience is a little bigger, 4,000, and I go, did all of you people know that Donald Trump has never had a sip of alcohol in his entire life? Faces dropped. I'm like, voter. Oh, Tana, you're doing it, do it, keep going. So then I went in on the brother was an alcoholic, and Donald Trump taught his children, and he stayed away from alcohol, and so he's living the word of wisdom. And I'm saying all this stuff, selling the candidate that I not only worked for, but loved. I cared for this man. He put me on the map, right? And he was like, what are you saying? What are you doing that they're not doing? Well, I know you. I observed you. I watched you. I know how to sell you in a way that I want to be sold. I don't care about your political stuff, even though I agree with it all. But I want people to know, so for y'all, you candidates out there, recognize, what can we know about you that makes me like you? You know what I'm saying? So I loved your bit about property taxes, because I'm like, ooh, I can get behind that. I own a home. So you made it more tangible to me. Property taxes, he attached it to something we can all get out of, understand. So when you're a candidate, say something that makes me want to go, I can relate to you. So if I was speaking to farmers, I was telling the farmers about how much Donald Trump spends in John Deere equipment. I'm telling the farmers how much he loves soybeans and corn. Sweet corn's his favorite. And all the farmers are like, yes, Trump's one of us. The Mormons, he doesn't drink. We go to Kansas, he loves the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm saying it all. And they're all buying it. Yet, all my team didn't like what I was doing, even though my stories, my ideas, were the ones that came down to in history books as the best Trump moves of his entire candidacy. So did y'all hear about the helicopter rides in Iowa, where Donald Trump brought his helicopter from New York to Iowa and did Iowa State Fair rides? Have y'all heard this story or not? Okay, well, let me give it to you. It's one of the best. So Donald Trump has the idea. He wanted to screw around with Hillary Clinton. And so, who didn't, right? I was all about that. And so he said, Tana, I really want to do something different at the Iowa State Fair when Hillary's going to be there. And I go, oh, what do you got up your sleeve? And I thought, I was thinking small, funnel cake something, corn dogs. I was thinking small. I don't know, name a pig after him. I don't know what I was thinking, but he was thinking much bigger. And he said, I want to give kids, Iowans, helicopter rides in my, $50 million helicopter. I like it. I like where your head is. Let me see what we can do about it. So our campaign manager goes, well, I'm going to get on this. I said, good. So I was out selling him in other ways. Campaign manager comes back a day later and goes, yeah, the Iowa State Fair Commission team or whatever said no. Well, of course they said no. You go around him, right? I'm not going to tell the campaign director, who's been doing this for 30 plus years, how to do his job, but he took the no and was like, going to go tell Trump no. I'm like, oh, wait, no. I was his apprentice. You don't quit after one try or two or three or four or five. You don't quit till everybody's pretty much dead or you're exhausted with trying. Hang tight, put a pin in your ideas, let me go to work. So I started getting around, how are we going to get a yes to this that he wants to do? So I found a plot of land, 1/4 of a mile from where he wanted to do this. I found a helicopter pilot because you had to have a pilot in the state. No problem, I had one. And he gave helicopter rides. 1/4 of a mile, you could hear the propellers from where Hillary was. For regular average Joe kids, little kids, gave these kids a ride of their life in his helicopter, and it made history books. Inside Edition was there. Every newspaper, every magazine, every pundit on every show wrote about it, talked about it, and it went down as one of the top 3 best political moves in his whole candidacy. Well, that was because I wouldn't quit with accepting a no right off the bat, and he achieved what he wanted. That was when the men started realizing we should get out of Tana's way and let's just treat her like the racehorse she is and let her run. Just go, Seabiscuit, go. Get out of her way and let her run. Because I'm running anyways, and I didn't want to run over you, but what I started to take notice was how many of us aren't warm and fuzzy for the new people that want to come in. The new people that show up and weed and go, guess what, I want to be a part of this Republican Party. Do you go, welcome, oh my God, here's the care package, dessert, coffee, welcome? Or do you, where the heck did you come from? Well, I'm gonna need to see credentials before, hello, it's a volunteer position, folks. We don't need credentials. If you have a pulse, we welcome you, right? Is that just me? Okay, we welcome you. So I started noticing, what's the disconnect here? And what it was, right off the get-go was intimidation from other people's strengths and skill sets. So I say, rather than being intimidated by somebody good, or somebody who has high energy like me and can run laps around you, rather than being mad at me for being good, just say, run, girl, go. You do the heavy work, you do the lifting, you do the 6 a.m. to 10 p.m., whatever you gotta do. But they weren't doing that, so I had to recognize that we need to educate people, especially candidates, that you want to have an air and an energy about you that you are welcoming to other people. You want your army to grow. For candidates in the room, I want you to recognize that I would hope that your campaign manager lights up like a Christmas tree when they see you. If they don't, you've got the wrong campaign manager. So what I noticed was when the candidate Donald Trump would come in, the people that were getting the paychecks didn't light up like a Christmas tree. So I'm like, disconnect, disconnect, disconnect. And they were the ones that weren't working hard for him. But I lit up like a Christmas tree because it's like, there's my uncle, there's my dad. Well, my dad, actually, my uncles aren't that old. But yeah, he's 75. He's my dad, like walking into the room, right? But why aren't people lighting up when they see you? So that's a good indication that maybe there's some bad energy in your campaign. Maybe the campaign, oh, this was a big one. They go, you need to settle down. Your enthusiasm's a bit much. I'm like, no, I think we need to turn it up a notch. Actually, I almost feel like in here too, we need to turn the volume up a little. Seems a little stuffy for a Saturday. Isn't today the day off? We're day off, right? Well, for you all, I still work. But we need to turn the volume up. This is a Saturday. Have a little bit of fun, right? Is it just me? Okay, Saturdays for me are usually whoop whoop days. Let's go have some fun. You're here learning from somebody that was handpicked from Donald Trump, so you can go and tell your community, hey man, we learned this. So I'm on this speaking tour teaching people the mistakes, the missed opportunities, and the misplays that happen so that it doesn't happen with you all. So that candidates understand your campaign manager should be really excited to see you and really excited for your ideas to flourish. So what I brought to the table day one, being a political neophyte, when they wrote about me, they were right. Like I said, I didn't know what a caucus was. But what they started saying is, this chick knows business. Oh, and she knows how to sell, and he's the candidate. So the Democrats went, we better watch out, not for the gurus, for Tana, because she knows how to sell this man. And she's really passionate about it, and enthusiastic and excited. You get those enthusiastic, excited, and energized behind a candidate, plan on winning, folks. So many people are boring. They're dead. Are they alive? Hello, are we out there, right? And so I look around and I think, what's going on here? And nobody could give me the answer, and I went, well, that's because they've all been doing this too long. How about we bring fun to politics? Let's make this fun. How do we do that? Well, I don't know. It's never been fun. How long have you been doing it? 40 years ago. We need to shake this up. So here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to do a thing called pizza prizes and perks. And they go, that's not going to work. I go, in whose mind? We've never done that. I said, well, so I'm an incentivized person. When there's been a contest at my Mary Kay, I used to sell Mary Kay. I was their #1 saleswoman. And they would be like, oh, you can sell $25,000 worth of stuff and we'll give you this cheap black bracelet. I'd work super hard just because I wanted to win the bracelet. And they got smart and went, I don't want these junky bracelets anymore. I want the pink car. I want the diamonds. I want the trips. Something better. Come on, Mary Kay, give me something better. So I want something more out of you because I know what I'm putting in your pocket. You're giving me this rinky-dink thing, take it up a notch, a couple of zeros behind it. So I started saying, I know I like perks, incentives, so why don't I do this for the people that are actually working for me for free? That was a new thing for me as an entrepreneur. I can't get anything done without writing a check or giving somebody some money. Now all of you people are gonna work for free for me, because remember, he's blaming me if we lose. So it was really, I felt like I was the candidate. So you're working for me so I don't get my butt chewed. I'm going to incentivize you. So I would say, be like me saying, so John, what would mean a lot to you? And John would be, used to always working for free and never getting anything. And he's like, well, nothing. No, seriously. And so I dig and I dig and I dig and I grind and I grind and I grind. And he finally would say, well, it'd mean a lot if I could get a picture with Donald Trump. And so I go, done. So then when Donald Trump would come to Iowa, I'd say, okay, so I got a list right here of some people that you're gonna meet and take photos with. And he's like, okay. And then I'd have on there, John did 100 100,000 calls, or whatever the heck it was nothing, it was simple. I didn't care if you were a super fan, you would meet them. And so then word would get out that Tana's actually incentivizing people working for free for us. And so then I'd find another lady and, oh, what would matter to you? And she's like, oh, I love your Trump jacket. I'd give anything to have one of those. Done. So I call the office. I need a nice Trump jacket. And then I bedazzle it for her. And I'd say, for all of the phone calls that you made, thank you. You matter. So I'm lighting them up. I'm lighting them up. I'm incentivizing them. I'm making them feel loved. I'm making them feel respected. I'm making them feel valued. Now we went from boring, dead to, wow, this is fun. Tana makes politics fun. So I look around and I'm like, man, we're really growing. Hey, we're busting at the seams here. We need 100 more chairs. So I started looking around and I went, oh, I get it. Word's getting out. This is fun. This is where the happening spot is. This is where the energy is. This is where the like-minded ideas swirl. This is where we all have each other's back. This is where we support each other rather than hate each other because we're different, or hate each other because they're better than me in some areas, which I always like to say, we're all good in our own different way. God made every single one of us with a gift that I couldn't emulate if I tried. So why not, instead of being jealous of one another, admire each other's strengths? That's what I do in my life. So I'm like, oh, you're so organized. I just wish I could be more like you. That's so incredible. I love your organizational skills. You know, and Amy and JP are. So it'd be like, oh, could you help manage my, schedule while I'm coming to New Mexico because you're so good at that? Yes. And then if they need a high energy hike girl, hey, Tana, could you help? Because then they use my strength. So rather than hating each other, love each other. I noticed that was the changing point. But I'll tell you what, tip 1, make politics fun. We grew, people came in, I didn't have to call and beg people anymore. It was like, this is where the fun spot is. And I thought, this is so great. So all of that happened with amazing, and I don't want to get into all of them for time, but I wrote about the 3 greatest political moves in the whole campaign in my new memoir. I also talk about how evil and nasty women were to me. So women in politics wasn't a good thing, even though the men at first were like, come on, woman. They really ended up loving me, and they went, sister, we were stupid. We needed to just let you run. We were wrong. But men can admit when they're wrong and say, I judged you by a cover. But the women, they hated me. They were mean to me. They didn't want to tap into my own power. They didn't want to even include me. They wanted to put me in a box. Mama, don't go in a box. Never, ever, ever again will I ever be put in a box, or you'll be written about, trust me. And so I thought, what's going on here with women? So I have a whole little section in here about women and women. Doesn't have to be politics, it's women and women in general. I've seen it in business as well. So the steal. So we win 2016 incredibly. But I want you to know one thing, that Hillary Clinton planned on stealing that election, but because there were some really good, hardworking people like myself and maybe some of you, she probably thought Trump would get about that many votes. So she stole about that many votes, but the MAGA movement was so huge that we had that many votes, so they didn't get to steal it, okay? So then I go back to my careers. I'm having a great time with life and love and everything that I'm doing. And then all of a sudden, they tap me for 2020. Would you come back and work on the 2020 campaign? And I thought, oh, now I'm gonna have to play in the sandbox with even more political gurus who think they know how to do this, and they have the clipboard, and they don't want to excel with, or welcome people like me with new ideas. This could be problematic for me because I don't now have the access, even though I had the access to call Trump, there were more people in the way now because we're part of the Republican Party. So I was a little hesitant, but I said yes. And working in the sandbox with people who really don't care if we won or we lost, it was just a paycheck, and a poor one at that. I was recognizing that these are not the people that I would typically pick to work on my team. So I thought, I'm going to have to get creative and strategize how I'm going to navigate this. And Trump just said, keep doing what you were doing. Get out in front of people and tell them about me. But what I recognized was that, as I mentioned, they didn't want to include me. How are we doing on time? Okay, I just didn't know if I needed to be. I'm getting close to wrapping this up, but anyways, your presence made me wonder. So anyways, I really started to recognize that when you're different, you don't fit in. And when I was saying things like, where are the young professionals? I'm just looking for them and I'm not seeing them. They would be like, we know how to do this. We're the Republican Party. I'm like, well, I understand that. But I did it once and I know what works. So I started suggesting that we had more younger people show up, which I'm thrilled that you all are young and you're here and you're running. That's great, more young blood. So what I recognized was mostly the women were not warm and fuzzy to other women wanting to come aboard and be a part of the Klan. And so I started breaking that element down and was like, that was a beast that was a little hard for me to swallow. For example, I started the Women for Trump Coalition in 2015 with the governor of Iowa, Kim Reynolds, who's amazing, and 100 Iowans, and I brought Laura Trump out to kick it off. And she fell in love with it that day in Iowa with me, and it went nationwide. I'm sure the Women for Trump Coalition maybe came through here. Statewide, nationwide, amazing. Well, it started with me. So from that moment, I have spoken to almost 30 National Federation of Republican Women's groups across the country. But I've never spoke to mine in Iowa. Weird, where it all started. But the director she wasn't interested in me. That's interesting. I was Donald Trump's hype girl. It don't get more interesting than that. It doesn't get more interesting from the person who started it, but she didn't want to welcome me and still hasn't. So rather than being bitter, I just became better. And that's really the way to handle things. When you aren't happy with something, rather than being bitter, just get better. But a lot of people don't know how to get better. They only like to stick with bitter because that angriness keeps you going. Well, let me tell you, life experiences and personal experiences, that's not what works. What works is being better so people can go, I want to be like her. I want to do what they're doing. Why is that campaign excelling? Why does that person always win? Well, they know what they're doing. So, as I mentioned, Hillary Clinton was ready. She stole it, and we won it, and there was nothing greater for my life experience up to that point than to see Hillary Clinton's face on the evening of that election when she thought she had it in the bag, and the balloons were getting ready to come down, and then, what? I lost? How? Those damn MAGA movement people. They came in, man, the MAGA movement was growing. Well, now, in 2020, I was noticing the enthusiasm was kind of a little different because we were looking for just paychecks. And so, oh boy, and there wasn't as many me's, and so I started thinking, oh, we might be in trouble. Oh my God, we might be in trouble. And so I thought, oh, well, I sure hope these people turn out to vote. I sure hope that they're not going to be just an armchair quarterback saying you should be doing this and doing that and doing this. And these chairs should be having more events and doing this. Well, where are you? Well, so the Biden people went, well, hey, the MAGA crazy people came in this high. We better steal it, say up to that blue drapery. So they went, we're going to go gangbusters. There's no way the MAGA movement can be that good. Well, we were about up to here. So guess what? The steal worked. And so the night of that election, I literally was sick to my stomach. So the next day I called the White House because I'm like, Donald Trump is getting evicted from the White House. Like, this doesn't make sense because I know how hard he worked for us. I was his hype girl. I was on the plane with him. And I'd go do my whoop, 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 whoop for 30 minutes. He'd do his speech for an hour, do a rope line for an hour. We'd get on the plane, do it another time, and another time, and another time. And then he'd drop us off in Des Moines, and then he would fly to back to New York, or DC. And I thought, how's this man doing this? No drugs, no alcohol. You know, usually at night I go, give me a glass of wine, honey. Decompress, not him. He did it. So I was like, this man didn't give up on us. We gave up, not we. People gave up, Republicans gave up on him. They didn't work hard enough. They didn't bring their friends like I did in 2016. My husband drive the minivan. We're going to the elderly's place. We're picking up the old people that can't get there. I need their vote. He's gonna blame me, remember? Are you driving your friends? Are you driving the elderly to vote? Are you bringing your neighbors? Are you getting your kids to vote if they're of age? They're a vote. They're a heartbeat. They're a vote. Oh, God, hell, I never even thought about my own damn kids. What? They're a vote. We need every vote. So I was devastated. And I said, I'm so sorry. What can I do? He goes, do me a favor. I want you to go out there and I want you to tell the Republicans one thing. What? Anything. Taking notes. Tell them to not be so good at losing. They take the loss so easily. They take the defeat. Oh, you've been defeated. Okay. They know damn well that this thing was stolen. Charles Grassley, the longest serving U.S. senator in the history of politics, hell, he's going to be 96 when he's done with his term. Shouldn't he be home with his grandkids? Shouldn't he be eating ice cream and watching the newspaper, reading the newspaper? What's he doing? It's easy money. Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. That next day after the election, he was on MSNBC, CNN, all of them, Fox News, and he said, Donald Trump needs to stop. The election was won fair and square. Joe Biden's our president. And I thought, you what? You weasel. Donald Trump came into Iowa and gave you that coveted endorsement that you didn't deserve because I knew you were a rhino, and you right now are saying Joe Biden is our president? What are you smoking, boy? He wasn't smoking anything, but still, what? I was so disgusted. So I told Trump, he's a rhino, 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 he's a rhino. He never wore the MAGA hat. He never did this, he never did that, he never came to the events I invited him to, he never did anything for you. They gave up on you. He goes, you go tell them. So I'd sit there and think, how many Republicans are just gonna let somebody walk all over you, trash your name, and you're gonna just sit there and take it like a weasel yourself? Let me tell you what, and let me tell you what, the Republican Party of Iowa tried to trash me because they knew I knew they hated Trump and that they were never Trumpers. And they knew I told Trump that they were never Trumpers. But they can do whatever they want. Whisper campaigns about Tana's or whatever. Tana's good at what she does. I don't know. Tana's too much energy. Maybe they say I'm on crack. I don't know. I don't care. Because I know I was honest. I know what I bring to the table, and I know I got that man in the White House and would have got him there twice if the weasels wouldn't have laid down and taken the loss. So he wants me to share the message. If somebody does you dirty, you go get back. You fight. You fight for what's right. Don't pretend to be like the Globetrotters, like we're really playing ball. Ooh, look at this game. Aren't we serious? You're jokes. They're jokes. They're not playing ball. They're frauds. They're fakes. They're phonies. Don't be that. So the strong ones that are winning are the ones that got their dukes up and say, don't screw with me. Don't send me, don't talk about me, don't tarnish my name, because you can't. Because in the end, being good wins. So, in closing, because I know we got to go, and I got another event. Hopefully, I'll see some of you there. If y'all got the energy to get there, I'd love to see you. But anyways, so right before Donald Trump got evicted from the White House, I was there visiting, and I said, could you do me a favor? Can I get a one sheet of your greatest accomplishments, just to have a burn book for my Democrats, friends, or my family that I've lost? I haven't, but a lot of people have lost families, family members because of their political beliefs. But because I am a good saleswoman, I could let my gay sister realize, because in their mind, Donald Trump's going to take away your gay rights. So rather than me being like, you idiot, where did you get that from? I was diplomatic and loving and kind and had a conversation with her and said, no, he has no interest in taking away your gay rights. He actually believes that love is love. Where did you hear that from? So I educated her nicely, kindly, with love and passion, patience, that you have it wrong, sister. So she was converted from thinking she should hate this man because he's going to steal her gay rights to, okay, I believe you, sister. But if you all have lost family or friends, I'm sorry to hear it, but it happens. But it doesn't need to happen. So I've got what I call my burn book. And when I asked for this one sheet, I was sitting there waiting, thinking, did they forget about me? It's taken a while. And all of a sudden, the little assistant comes out. She goes, oh, I got the accomplishments. Sorry, it took a while. It was 69 pages, single-spaced. Okay. In here is the accomplishments of Donald Trump's administration. So when people say he didn't really do that much, well, I would challenge you to just go right ahead. I don't care if you're into women in science, because I have a daughter who's a scientist, or if that excites you, or if you're into religious liberty or protecting our veterans. How many veterans do we have in the room? Thank you very much for your service too. Josh and Chuck in the back. But anyways, whether you're into education, if you're into veterans, if you're into the opioid crisis, if you're into, like I mentioned, women empowerment, if you're into entrepreneurial, if you're into closing the borders, workers and family, you guys, I could go on and on. If you would like me to email you a copy of this so you could have this for, I call it collateral or ammunition, please come over to my book signing table, and I would love to have you grab a business card and email me, and I'd be thrilled to send this to you so you can have that to educate people. Because I'd like people to realize that we don't need to be hating one another. We actually just need to be educating one another. And in closing, I'd like to say that the number one thing that has been effective for me in these presentations has been this, that I'm sharing, regardless of what your resources are, or regardless of what you bring to the table in the game of life, I suggest that if you've been gifted with wealth, financial gain, then you donate to a candidate that you can get behind so that they can get their seahorse, their racehorse like me, out and running and getting them across the finish line. If you've been blessed with finances, then they can buy yard signs, t-shirts, bumper stickers, whatever it is. If you're like me and you've been blessed with high energy and stamina that is inexhaustible, well then step up for somebody who doesn't have the energy to do what needs to be done to win. If you have the energy, you could be a phone caller, a door knocker, a mailer, stuffing mail envelopes. You could be setting up chairs for events like this. There is a spot for everyone. If you have a good brain, maybe you've been blessed with intellect, perhaps you could help a candidate write a really great article, a one sheet on themselves. Because the best thing that you can do to win your election is to tell me why I should vote for you. Why are you different? So for example, Chuck in the back, he heard me in Rio Doso, and he said I lit a fire underneath him, stirred something up, and he said, I want to run for the very first time. Well, I thought, okay, just looking at Chuck, I didn't know anything about him, but I did know he was a veteran. And I went, we're on to something. And his wife, he told his wife, we need a campaign slogan. And she goes, how about you're a soldier who still wants to serve? I go, bingo, there it is. Stay with that, nothing else. You're a soldier who still wants to serve. Who can't get behind that, right? So have a slogan, have something I can sink my teeth in And I'm like, I can get behind you. I can get behind you. You're speaking my language. So I definitely would recommend getting behind a candidate if you've been blessed with wealth, give them money. If you've been blessed with energy, work for them. Because we are an army, we need to grow bigger. We are noticing that the numbers are slimming. People aren't turning out. There's no reason that this room isn't filled today. When I was in the business of politics, I would say things like, hey, whoever brings the most friends, I'll give you a prize. And okay, well then one person would bring one person, so then they get the prize. And I'd say it again. And then 10 people would bring 2 people, and then I pick out of a hat. And so incentivizing people to turn out sometimes really is all we can do, with the exception of bribing people, and I was doing that too. Hey, give you free pizza if you show up, pizza prizes and perks. It works. So whatever you can do, please definitely dig a little bit deeper, because we are going to win this. Donald Trump will not quit on you. I can guarantee you that. When I look around the room here today, it's no different than every other state that I've gone, and I look out and I go, patriots, Americans, like people that have the American dream, people that will put their Saturday on hold to come and hear the good message that we are one nation under God. If we could all just turn off the noise and then tune into God, what would God want us to do? Where would God want us to go? How would God want to use me as a vessel for Him? Would He want me to be loving and kind? Or would He not? Well, we know the answer. He wants you to be loving and kind. He doesn't want you to fight with your family and say, you're wrong, I'm right. You're a liar, I'm right. Prove me wrong. He doesn't want that. So let's not give Him that. Unfortunately, we've given the Democrats a lot of ammunition with all the fighting amongst ourselves, with all the not warm and fuzzy, welcome to the crowd, welcome to the club, we're glad you're here. Can we change that? I'm living proof. I knew nothing about politics, but I knew how to treat humans like human beings. I knew how to be a vessel for love and light and positivity, and I'm living proof it works. Love always wins the race. So if we could love one another, and we can be kind to one another, and we can welcome others into the fold, it's game over. It's game over. So the other thing I wanted to say is I loved the vibe that there was a lot of candidates in this room that don't have an opponent, but yet you all said you're all still working for it. And that was one other thing that Donald Trump was, besides don't be so good at losing, he's like, people don't work for it anymore. Well, I'm thrilled to see people like Harlan. He was saying he was going something else, and Vicky was, y'all are working for it still. I love, that you guys are working for it. You have to work for it, because when you think it's in the bag, the energy and the aura is, what the heck, man? What the heck? But if you've got passion and enthusiasm and you're like, I'm not going to take it for granted. I want to serve you. I want to be the mouthpiece for you. I want to be good for you. I want our community to be good. Then we all win in this game of life. So I want you all to know that I will be at my book signing table willing to answer any question. If any candidate wants to know how to perfect their pitch, or you have any questions for me, I'll be here. I'll also be signing copies of my memoir, and that's where you can get my email address for me to send you the Trump accomplishments. But I want to say again to Amy and to JP, thank you, and to Josh, thank you so much for bringing me into your community. And I thank you all for welcoming me and giving me some of your Saturdays. So God bless you all, and thanks so much.